You're welcome to News Now on TV360 Nigeria. I am Esther Vese. President Muhammadu Buhari is expected to sign the 2018 budget next week. This was disclosed by the president's spokesman Femi Adesina after a cabinet meeting on Wednesday. He, however, did not specify the date. Now, Wednesday made it a month the National Assembly passed the 9.1 trillion naira appropriation bill. Buhari had proposed 8.6 trillion naira, but the lawmakers raised the budget by 500 billion naira. They also increased oil benchmark from $45 to $51 per barrel. Meanwhile, a federal high court in Abuja has ordered the immediate dismissal of the senator representing Kogi East, Atai Aidoko. The judge, Justice Gabriel Kolawole, ruled that Aidoko was wrongly presented as the flag bearer of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, in the December 2014 primaries conducted by the PDP. Aidoko's challenger, Isaac Alfa, has asked the court to nullify the election, pushing the case to the Court of Appeal, where both were ordered to return to the trial court to allow it to determine the rightful owner of the suit. Justice Kolawole has also ordered the PDP and Aidoko to pay Alfa 750,000 naira each. Another federal high court in Abuja says the National Assembly lacks powers to investigate criminal allegations, indict or absolve anyone of crime. In a ruling, the courts declared as null and void the practice of the National Assembly to investigate criminal allegations involving individuals. The case was filed by Festus Kayemo, a senior advocate of Nigeria, against the House of Representatives. Kayemo's legal action was propelled by the silence of the House of Representatives over a news story in a national newspaper in 2008, which indicted the leadership of the House in a shady car deal of 380 units of Peugeot automobile. Meanwhile, another $500 million loot will soon be repatriated to the country. The Minister of Justice and Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, disclosed this to journalists after a Federal Executive Council meeting at the Presidential Villa in Abuja. He said the money is in addition to the $322 million released by Switzerland after negotiations. He also disclosed new measures the government has taken to strengthen anti-corruption laws.
It was a report on the Global Forum on Asset Recovery. If you could as well very much remember, in December 2017, federal government participated in Global Forum on Asset Recovery in Washington, D.C., and during that forum, Nigeria and Switzerland signed an agreement that paved way for the repatriation of $322 million relating to the looted assets, and on account of that, the amount was eventually repatriated back to Nigeria. So that report was only the report of the incidents and that happened during the forum was only reported back to the council today. But then I'm happy to report that the report today was not only about the signing of the agreement, but the report of the eventual repatriation of the amount of money that was signed and agreed to be repatriated during the forum. Added information related to it during the summit, during the forum. Nigeria had engaged other countries, inclusive of UK, United States of America, France, JC, among others, in further negotiations relating to repatriation of looted assets. And I'm equally happy to report that we are almost concluding processes relating to repatriation of additional around $500 million, which we hope will be recovered very soon as well. The memorandum that seeks to strengthen prevention measures and institutions on the part of implementations of the President's London commitments on anti-corruption and open government partnership. If you recall, sometimes back in 2016, precisely during the London Anti-Corruption Summit, Mr. President has given commitment to the implementation of open government partnership in pursuance of that commitment, Nigeria has indeed registered as a member of the Global Open Government Partnership, the essence of which to give commitment to transparency in governance, accountability in governance, access of the students in governance. So arising from that commitment and the enrollment of Nigeria as a member of the Global Open Government Partnership, Mr. President has sometimes but equally approved the National Action Plan on Open Government Partnership. And then today, the memo presented seeks for the establishment of units within the ministries, department, and agencies of government that will now give effect to that transparency, accountability, and access of the citizens to information relating to governance.
The leadership of the Labour Party is pleading with Nigerians to support its efforts to rebuild the party. The national chairman of the Labour Party in Nigeria, Mike Omotosho, made the appeal on Wednesday at a news conference in Abuja. He also disclosed that the party has rejected plans by the immediate past governor of Ondo State, Olusegun Mimiko, to return to the party.
Right now, the Labour Party is preoccupied with strategic repositioning aimed at re-energizing our capacity as a people for issue-based politics and ideologically driven political contestations. We urge politicians like the former governor of Ondo State to stay clear of the new Labour Party because we are aware of their gimmicks to lure the Labour Party in the direction of other political parties with the hope of rehabilitating their dwindling political relevance. I re-emphasize again that once beaten, twice shy. We say no to such politicians.
There is a foundation, there is a history on how the party is formed. And all over the world, like you have the Labour Party of UK, the Workers' Party in Brazil, the Workers' Party in Scandinavian countries. This is how the party was formed. So there is no way somebody can lay claim to it and begin to appropriate it without actually also liaising with the owners of the party. That's the basis of what message is being given out today. Because we have also seen that many people have been defrauded using the name of the Labour Party without even the party officials being aware. They go and say, we give you ticket, bring X amount of money. That's not how to run a party. So we are warning people, nobody should go and be defrauded. So this is a disclaimer. Anybody that does that as his own parade. Don't come and bring and the name of Labour and Labour Party to disrepute. We will not be part of such an arrangement. It's a party that is built on strong ideological leaning, and therefore it must be seen from this perspective.
The Director General of the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP, Julie Okadonli, has warned parents and guardians to be careful as traffickers are using the World Cup tournament to traffic young girls and boys to Russia. The agency recently arrested some youths at the international airport in Lagos being trafficked to Russia under the guise of going for the World Cup tournament. The head of NAPTIP says it is important for parents to watch out for their kids' behavior and monitor closely any relation or friend that is promising them good life and jobs abroad.
We got a tip-off from someone that 5 girls were about to be trafficked, and so my team, led by the Lagos Zonal Commander, went to the airport, and they were able to, just as they were giving them their travel documents and all the rest of the tickets, fan tickets and all of that, we were able to apprehend the suspects, 5 of the suspects, and rescue 10 of the victims. Some of them even had one-way tickets. So you can see that they didn't plan to come back and they didn't even know what was going on. So of course, they obviously were not going to watch the World Cup. Of what benefit is it going to be to them to leave their country and then go watch the World Cup? The question is, what are you doing? What job do you do? What's your, you understand what I mean? So you can tell when someone is genuinely going to watch the World Cup and when someone is using the World Cup as a guise to just migrate in, legally or illegally.
The Director General says the agency is doing a lot in the area of enlightenment and education to let people know the traffickers are devising new methods to carry out their criminal activities. She also says the agency wants stiffer legislation against traffickers to serve as a deterrent to others.
Russia has always been a destination country, extremely endemic when it comes to human trafficking. We've got lots of Nigerians there in Russia who are being trafficked, who are stranded and desirous of coming back home. So Russia is a very endemic country when it comes to human trafficking. There's bound to be one or two security agents, who will be complicit when it comes to things like this, for easy passage of traffickers. We've come across one or two in times past from different law enforcement agencies. Even staff of the NAPTIP as well. Some of them are complicit in things like this, so you can't rule that out. So of course, when we arrest them, we make sure that they face the full wrath of the law. They don't go free. They don't go unpunished, despite the fact that they are law enforcement agents. It makes no difference to us. Jail sentence sometimes can be frustrating because sometimes they get off with very light jail sentences. Sometimes they are given the option of a fine, which is against the new law, because the new law says that it has to be imprisonment and fine. But surprisingly, sometimes we see fines being imposed on traffickers, and this has been a major challenge to us. So maybe you're referring to those who, were fined and who paid the fine and continued to find themselves on the streets of Nigeria, probably. But we're pushing for stiffer penalties, and I'm sure we'll get there.
NAPTIP is currently collaborating with the Ministry of Sports to profile anyone traveling out of Nigeria for the World Cup. Now, this is to forestall young boys and girls from being illegally trafficked. In other news, the Minister of Health, Isaac Adewale, has revealed that the Federal Executive Council has approved the draft on Food Safety and Quality Bill, as well as the Food Safety Institutional Reform Working Document. Now, according to him, it is expected that with the formal approval of the two documents, the nation may witness reduction in the incidence of foodborne diseases through any preventive control measures that is contained in the bill. He said it will also help to support the achievements of sustainable, effective food trade that would boost the nation's economy, as well as help to strengthen institutional capacity for food, safety, and quality already contained in the bill.
At today's meeting, Council considered two memoranda from the Federal Ministry of Health. The first one dealt with the approval of the draft Food Safety and Quality Bill, as well as the Food Safety Institutional Reform Working Document. It is expected that with the formal approval of these two documents, we will have a reduction in the incidence of foodborne illnesses through so many preventive controls that are already contained in the bill, and will also help us to support achievement of sustainable, effective food trade that will boost and enhance the national economy. And thirdly, it will also help to strengthen institutional capacity for food safety and quality, as well as improve information and communication systems for food safety in Nigeria. The relevance of the bill could actually be appreciated when one considered some happenings in the past when food export from Nigeria was banned in Europe. And we believe that what is required is for us to strengthen institutional framework that will enable various agencies of government to work together. Part of the institutional framework in the bill is to set up a food safety council in Nigeria that will be chaired by His Excellency the Vice President, as well as an interministerial committee that will handle food management as well as food safety in Nigeria. The second other memorandum from the ministry had to do with the approval of a draft National Tobacco Control Regulation. Under this administration, we've recorded several successes with respect to anti-tobacco control. Precisely early last month, Mr. President approved increase in tobacco taxes as well as alcohol. And then on the 23rd of May, government approved the framework to control illegal trade in tobacco products in Nigeria. And today, the regulation that will enable us to really effectively implement the National Tobacco Control Act was approved by Federal Executive Council. The framework contained quite a number of sections that has to do with general provisions such as regulations, licensing, approvals, who does what, penalties, and so on and so forth. And importantly, to also enable us to work closely with the states. We believe that once this is approved by National Assembly, we will start seeing a lot of changes, effective ban on smoking areas in the country, and also you will notice different warning labels on tobacco products in Nigeria.
You're still watching news now on TV360. We'll take a short break and be right back.
People to get only 10 people to register to vote, 10 new voters. Each of us standing here today, when you get back home, when you get to your place of work, your school, try and get 10 new people that do not have their PPC to register to vote. We're going to take on our website onevoice.ng, onevoice.ng. Please go there, give us the information. If you get 10 people to vote, then you're amongst us.
So at least start with your voter's card and begin to use that to bargain about the type of person you want to see on February 16, 2019 and March 2nd on the ballot paper.
So we want to focus on people who haven't voted before. It's 100,000 people who are looking to pledge that, because that gives us a minimum of 1 million new voters.
Instead of to say, oh, my vote no go count now. Try vote first, maybe you see whether it will count, you know.
You're welcome back. The Federal Executive Council, FEC, on Wednesday approved the rehabilitation and construction of 14 roads in different parts of the country. The Special Advisor Media to President Muhammadu Buhari, Femi Adesina, announced this on behalf of the Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Babatunde Raji Fashola, while briefing State House correspondents at the end of the meeting. Now, the 14 roads will be constructed at the cost of 185.3 billion naira.
You have Goza, Damboa, Goniri, Ngamdu Road in Yobe and Borno states. That's for rehabilitation. Also for rehabilitation, Mayo Beowa, Jada Ganye, Tongo Road in Adamawa State. Rehabilitation of Ado Ifaki, Otun, Kwara State Border Road in Ekiti. Repair of Makodi Bridge in Benue State. Construction of Ihugi Korea Wuse Anka Road in Benue State. Rehabilitation of Gbagi Akwa Owode Road in Badagry area of Lagos. Then construction of Ijebu-Igbo Ita-Egba Road in Ogun State. Dualization of Jatu Fuga Agenebode Road in Edo State. Rehabilitation of Makodi Boko Kwanune Yandev Road, Section 1 in Benue State. Rehabilitation of Old Enugu Port Harcourt Road. Rehabilitation of Umulumbwe Umoka Amoku Road. Rehabilitation of Maiduguri Monguno Road. Rehabilitation of Unkoyi Akugweze in Anambra State. And construction of Sabombini to Sulu Kuya Maradi Junction in Sokoto State. So those are 14 roads, either for repair, for construction, or rehabilitation. All those were approved by the Federal Executive Council.
The Council also approved 6.5 billion naira for the construction of the Phase 2 and the completion of the Industrial Training Fund ITF Multipurpose Conference Center in Abuja. The Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Okechukwu Enalama, stated this while addressing State House correspondents after the Cabinet meeting.
The Council also considered and approved the award of a contract for the construction of the Phase 2 and completion of the Industrial Training Fund ITF Multi-Purpose Training and Conference Center in Abuja in favor of Messrs. Shelter Development Limited in the sum of 6,540,385,908 naira, inclusive of VAT. And the importance of this is that, as you know, Industrial Training Fund is probably the most important agency of government when it comes to training, particularly vocational training and skills acquisition. And Abuja is a very important center of training for ITF, and it's been training people in a facility it has that can train 319 people per session. With this investment in this training building, it can increase that capacity to about 1,200 people per session each time. So it's a fairly big facility. And some of the areas of interest that where we want to increase training, including the automotive skills sector, in ICT, in tiling, plasters of Paris, and that's POP, plumbing, GSM, and welding and fabrication, refrigeration and air conditioning, and so on. And I think the important point to make here is that like all these strategies are an attempt to implement, these are economic recovery and growth plan, and to diversify the economy in a way that we can bring more and more of our people to have the skills that are needed to go to work. And as you know, training is a very important part of that.
Nigeria's inflation has dropped 11.61% in May, below the federal government's projection of 12.42%, set in the 2018 to 2020 medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper. This is the 16th straight month of decline in inflation. Food inflation declined to 13.45% from 14.80% in April. Now, according to the Consumer Price Index for May 2018, released on Wednesday, the highest increases were recorded in yam, potatoes, tubers, vegetables, fish, bread, fruits, and cereals. On the international scene, the U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo has warned North Korea will not see any economic sanction lifted until it has demonstrated complete denuclearization. Pompeo was speaking at a press conference in Seoul with his Southern Korean and Japanese counterpart. It comes days after President Donald Trump and Kim Jong-un held a historic summit in Singapore. The leaders signed a statement pledging to establish a new relationship. Kim also reaffirmed its position promises to work towards completing denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. Meanwhile, South Sudanese rebel leader Riek Machar has accepted an invitation from the Ethiopian Prime Minister to talks with South Sudanese President Salva Kiir in Addis Ababa next week. The meeting will be the first time that Kiir and Machar, the former vice president of South Sudan, have met since a peace deal between the government and Machar's rebel group fell apart in August 2016. Tens of thousands of people have died in the civil war that broke out in late 2013 when troops loyal to Machar launched a rebellion against the government. All sides in the now complex and multifaceted war stand accused by the United Nations and other bodies of committing atrocities against civilians. To sports news now, the 2018 FIFA World Cup gets underway on Thursday when host Russia faces Saudi Arabia following an opening ceremony at Moscow's Luzhniki Stadium. The football showpiece event features 32 teams, including holders Germany, competing in 64 games over 32 days. The 21st edition will be played in 12 stadiums across 11 cities spread over 1,800 miles. Nigeria will begin its tournament on Saturday against Croatia. Meanwhile, coach Gernot Rohr has assured that the Super Eagles will be ready for that game. Rohr has admitted that he has respect for Croatia, but insists his young side will not be overrun by the Europeans when both teams meet in their World Cup Group D clash at the Kaliningrad Stadium. The German coach also provided updates on right-back Tyrone Ebuehi, who suffered a nosebleed in Tuesday's training. He also passed a clean bill of health on the other players. Former Spain captain Fernando Hierro has been given the emergency role of coaching the team at the Russia 2018 Cup. Now Hierro replaces Julen Lopetegui, who was sacked on Wednesday, the day after he was announced as Real Madrid coach for the next season. Lopetegui signed a 3-year deal with the UEFA Champions League winners on Tuesday, but was poised to lead La Furia Roja to the 2018 FIFA World Cup in Russia. Well, that's it on news now. Do log on to our website at www.tv360nigeria.com to get more news updates and watch our other programs. You can also watch us on Facebook at facebook.com/TV360online and on Twitter at twitter.com/TV360Nigeria. We're also live on YouTube at youtube.com/TV360 Nigeria, and we're also on Google+, and our handle is TV360 Nigeria. Thank you very much for watching. I am Esther Vese.